Hi, my name is Jacob and I don't watch very much anime.
Hey, I'm Kane.
Kenneth.
And today we are going straight to UA for Deku's first couple of days in My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better pass your test or Major Armstrong will take his shirt off and yell at you.
After we finished recording last week's episode, we came up with a bunch of weird shit that we forgot to mention. That was one of them.
So we just stuffing it in where we can.
Phrasing.
On today's episode, we're going to first start off with episode 5. It's What I Can Do For Now. This is about Deku's very first day at UA, where he has to learn control so that he can pass his, not his exams to get in it, but his quirk assessment test by his new teacher, Aizawa.
Where if you don't pass, you're out of the school.
Yeah, the bottom person ends up getting expelled.
Is this the first episode with quirk narration?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like the first thing I wrote down was...
This is their powers.
Yeah, that's the first thing I wrote down was quirk narration. And I love that they have a character that's in the show.
Right.
Yeah, it's the voice guy.
It's not just like, hey, we just hired some guy to come in and do this. Like, it's an actor doing the voice of another character, of a character that makes sense to be doing it.
Yeah, like a narration character. That's,
even though I can't remember his name.
It's like MC Mike or something like that.
MC Mike.
Look. I don't remember.
I think MC, I think the M in MC is Mike.
It is.
Mike Control Mike?
Yeah.
Is his name Mike?
Yeah. I don't know.
So this one introduces us to Aizawa, the teacher. And the interesting thing about Aizawa is that he really reminds me of...
Kakashi and Shikamaru?
I don't know who those people are. Did you not hear my intro where I say I don't watch a lot of this?
He's Kakashi
The people listening know who Kakashi and Shikamaru are.
It's Kaka Sensei.
Maybe not.
Wait, is there a guy named Kaka Sensei?
That's what Naruto calls Kakashi.
Yeah.
Oh.
There also is a soccer player named Kaka.
Huh.
Well, K's.
He really reminds me of like half of all acting teachers.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, he does. Like, I was doing this and then I burned out and now I'm going to hold it against all of my students. Is like 50% of all acting teachers.
I don't know why the show is so like good and for some reason like superhero connecting to like being a superhero is like being in like a performance art career.
Yeah.
Like I mean they are celebrities, but like
They are celebrities, they have agencies, a lot of it is about maintaining public image.
yeah.
Aizawa is also the coach who blew out his knee in high school and like hates that you still have your youth and you still have a chance.
yeah.
But he still got his knee.
Like-
but he's still good.
No, I get it, but yeah, it's like the same type of guy. It's like, oh, I could have been the man if I didn't blow out my knee in high school. Like, yeah, sure, coach. Yeah, yeah sure.
He's just really harsh to judge.
Yeah.
He's the teacher that really wants his students to be big and like, exceed expectations. So he's going to be as harsh as possible. He knows that there are heroes that don't go to UA that are like whatever, but he wants the heroes that he teaches to be the top of the top.
Exactly. I actually really like him, both as a character and kind of as a teacher. There's something kind of nice about the fact that he is very straightforward about his thoughts and opinions.
You know, I think I talked a little bit last time about how these characters are based around archetypes and then they kind of change as we move along. Like, they take the archetypes that anime lovers Ken and I are, and then they switch something. They make one drastic character change that makes that no longer the archetype and it's a completely unique three-dimensional character.
In the comment section of the illegal website that I was watching this on. Hulu. I was watching it on Hulu.
You can watch it on Hulu.
Yeah,
the first season is on Hulu. It is no longer on Funimation for if you guys are part of for Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
You have to watch My Hero Academia on Hulu.
But commercials. But in the comment section, there was literally somebody arguing about that to where that all these there was multiple characters that just had Naruto tropes, but it's only if you very loosely just go the basic.
Right, they start with the archetypes. You've got Naruto and Midoriya. You've got Sasuke and Bakugo.
You have Hinata and Uraraka.
Right.
But then, as the show goes on, they break off and show you something different.
Well, there's also something that's bothered me about a lot of analysis of stories in general. People will say this is a trope or that's a trope and just sort of end it there. That's not an analysis. All you've done is observe something.
Right.
Like there are
And made a
tropes are-
connection. You didn't, like...
Tropes are all over narrative. It's
Right.
how stories are told. They aren't necessarily bad. Oftentimes they are, and they
Right.
can be, but they are not by their very nature.
I think the term trope has some sort of, like,
Bad
negative...
connotation. Where it's like, oh, you just made another trope.
Yeah.
You didn't try. You just
They
took this character and gave him a different animation.
They use the trope on purpose because it's the story they're trying to tell.
Mm-hmm.
The author for My Hero Academia is using these tropes on purpose.
Yeah.
They are, and the reason I keep bringing them up is because it is specifically a reference to, like, the Sasuke retrieval arc. They are references to these other. We've got Aizawa, who's literally doing the bell test from Naruto, which is something that they test to become ninjas.
In order to become a ninja, do you have to go through a smoke screen and take a bunch of bells off of a body without having them make a noise?
You have to take a bunch of bells off of Kakashi's body.
Yeah, you have to take these 2 bells, and there's 3 of you.
But it's
2 bells.
The reason I say this is because that's the ninja test in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze.
It's probably related to actual ninja.
Yeah, it's probably been on.
But their sensei has
that.
bells hanging from his hip, and it's just, you just gotta take them from me and you pass.
In the same vein,
But he's one of the strongest people in the village, even though he's not gonna go all out against the students. But you have students that are just out of the academy,
Right.
and they have to take the bells from this legendary
ninja.
Yeah, but that's one of the problems I have is when people will just identify tropes and sort of end the analysis there. Is I see the same thing with them identifying story formula.
Right.
Story formulas are not inherently bad. They can be used to be lazy, but they aren't inherently lazy storytelling.
You can still
it's
do
not
your own
every.
thing.
I agree with you completely.
It's not every storyteller's job to come up with a whole new way to tell a story.
This is an amazing shonen anime, and it's something that I think does the best job at it so far in my experience. I'm not an anime connoisseur. I'm just a dabbler. You know, I like what I like.
Just a casual fan.
Yeah, I'm just a casual fan. Yeah. But in the same connection that I was saying, right? Yeah, we've got the connection between Kakashi's bell test and what Aizawa is doing, because Kakashi is also known in that universe for denying students to go on to the next level, and like sending students home for another year. They have to go through another year before they can become ninjas because they hadn't learned their lesson. Yeah, right. In this moment, it's the same idea.
Sounds
but the
like
lesson,
taking classes at Groundlings.
the lesson is not the same lesson at all, and that's where hey, here's the switch. It's we're giving you the trope, right, because we want you to make that connection, and then we're going to say, hey, this is the different character though. Yeah. Now we're going to actually throw it in here. I love some of the stuff Aizawa says specifically about this. Using their powers in these specific tests, right? They just do regular, like, sporting
They do a
tests.
decathlon.
Right. But you're allowed to use your powers. He says using the powers in these tests allow them to make observations they wouldn't otherwise think about using their powers because they're using their powers in new creative ways applied to these 10 different tests.
Like you said, it's a way to see the potential of your power.
Yeah, and we actually see a scene of Bakugo being like, oh, okay, so I can only do this for this amount of time if I was in a situation like this for some reason. Which these kids, right, they know their powers, they've had their powers since they were 4 years old, are now experiencing for the first time.
Yeah, because they've never had the outlet to actually try them to their limits.
What I love about this show, there's tons of this.
Also, Bakugo,
they're teaching lessons.
Something I thought about Bakugo during the episode is, how does he actually explode?
What do you mean?
He makes nitroglycerin.
Yeah.
But nitroglycerin doesn't just explode.
I'm going by the same thing I said at the beginning of last episode. I'm just going to take them at their word for the rules of the universe.
Because what made me think of it is when...
They're not humans from human life.
Yeah,
Earth,
I'm willing to just take them at their word for this.
Whatever Earth is.
It's kind of the same thing where on some people's powers, they go and they make very specific loopholes or conditions.
Every power has to have, like, some... this is in the lore of the world. Every power has to have some sort of, like, bad thing associated with it, or some sort of, like, limit to how it works.
Yeah.
But like, to say that his nitroglycerin sweat can't just explode on impact, that you can just write that off as whatever they want to write it off as, because
Well, it just made me.
there's a character with a fucking bird for a head. Like,
Yeah.
It just made me think of there's a shot where he has the glove on.
Yeah.
And explosions happening in his hand, but the sweat is on his hand.
Yeah.
he
but
designs the clothes.
I know.
Yeah,
We know.
and that kind of thing is all built around narrative and what is narratively interesting when it needs to be.
Exactly.
Maybe they go super
Well,
into
it's-
certain stuff because it
Yeah.
will become interesting for a particular storytelling
To
reason.
learn about
It's
it.
something I think about, but it's not like, oh my god, this show is dumb.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't
Right.
explain that he doesn't need a
I mean,
But I guess
it
the way
brings up
I'm
a fair
thinking of it,
but it's just
the way I'm thinking of it is it's sort of like Spider-Man. You can
Right.
explain why Spider-Man can crawl on walls and such, and they will go into a lot of detail oftentimes about like how he has webbing and why he has webbing and why they're web shooters. But at the end of the day, why does Spider-Man have web shooters instead of being able to shoot it from his body? It's because he needs to run out sometimes.
Yep.
That's the whole reason. It's
And
because
you
it's
need to
narratively
run
interesting
out
for him
and
to
you need
run
to
out
show-
eventually.
Exactly.
and you need to show that he's smart.
Yeah.
that he
At-
made it. Yo,
Exactly.
Peter Parker's smart. He was able to make the web shooters himself.
We finally get the names of the characters that I spoiled from last episode.
Dummy.
Ochiko Uraraka and Ida. I can't remember his first name. Tenya Ida. And we get the crew, man. We get the little trio that is them.
Yeah.
Trio. I know how to speak English words. Kenneth, why are you always judging how I
Oh,
speak?
you mean Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman?
Right.
I wrote down one character is just a frog, one is just a baby, and one is just invisible.
You don't even know what the baby can do.
Which one's
yet,
the
though.
baby?
Aminata?
Oh, the little dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even know what the baby can
But, like,
do yet.
He's stupid.
I love that there are superpowers wherein one is just, I'm a frog, I'm just a baby, I'm just invisible. This is the ending.
Well, yeah, like the Invisible Girl is like
Well,
come on.
we got the
man.
blonde
She's
guy.
just
We got
invisible.
the blonde guy who's in like his like black belt outfit. He's just got a tail.
Yeah,
I
but-
love that. I've just got a tail.
But you have to understand, we just watched an episode where there was like thousands of kids like coming and basically auditioning for this.
Mm-hmm.
They're the 30 or the 16 or 18 kids that
did the best.
one
Yeah.
half of the two classes, right? They're the 18 kids that got in.
Yeah. So
Which
for
means,
whatever
what did
reason.
this kid
I mean-
with the tail do?
Well,
If
I think
somebody
it's-
has a tail that's the same size as their body and is thick as hell, you're like, yeah, he could do some stuff.
Well, I think this also
Wait.
draws attention
Yeah.
to what a lot of the rest of these 4 episodes go over, which is Deku barely ever uses his powers in this grouping of 4 episodes, because by and large he doesn't have to. You don't have to for a lot of heroing. You do when the time comes and you need to know how to use them, but by and large, it's just your
Heroing
life.
is not all about fighting.
Which he does, right? In this very first episode we're talking about, when it comes down to when it matters, he needs to know how to use it. He does, and he thinks of it on the spot, which is it tells us a lot about his character and his ability to act in his reaction time.
Which something else I saw in the comment section was, he is Batman and Superman.
At the same time,
He has the strength of Superman, but he knows everything.
and he's the brains of Batman.
He's Batman and Superman.
So Deku's just the best superhero. We've established it. We've won. We've won My Hero Academia. We figured it out.
All right. Well, we'll pack up here, and next week, I guess we're gonna start Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter, yeah, next week. Shout out Gon.
One of my favorite lines is when Bakugo, when he's throwing the ball for the first time, right? He's giving the example. He throws the ball, and he just yells, "Die!"
Oh yeah.
really aggressively. And then
kid
Deku's
has
like,
problems.
"Die?" And they leave it at that.
Yeah.
Aizawa doesn't even fucking address it as a teacher. Nobody addresses it.
Yeah.
Deku's just like, anyone hear him say that?
Say that, die.
Die?
Well, why is Deku surprised?
Right, and yeah, why is
Dude's
Deku...
like,
Deku's used to this shit, right? Like,
That's Bakugo, yeah.
maybe he hasn't gotten that aggressive before.
Which, I mean,
really
like,
don't
he gets his character development and all that, but, like, I'm on season 4, and it's like, the kid is still just an asshole.
I love Bakugo.
Like, he's just a fucking asshole.
I have a lot of Bakugo praise here written in the notes.
I have a lot of Bakugo praise in episode 8, actually.
So do I. That's why I wrote it too.
Cool.
I wrote a lot of stuff about. Well, I mean, his name is literally in the fucking episode.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Deku's got a lot of Bakugo, like, a lot of Bakugo ass kissing.
Yeah. I wrote another line that Bakugo says, which is one of my favorite lines, where he turns to Ida right at the beginning when they're like right introducing each other. Ochiko comes behind behind Deku, and then he's like, but then Ida's like saying some shit and like something because I think Bakugo has his like feet up on the desk or something.
Oh yeah.
And Deku like addresses it, or Ida addresses it, and he's like, "Don't tell me what to do, you side character."
And it's like, who wrote this? Deadpool?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Who's writing this shit?
Yeah, I'm
Well,
like,
that's interesting because later in a later episode, Deku talks to Bakugo and actually mentions like, I know that it's in episode 8. God, we're just gonna skip to episode 8. But Deku says like, I know that this sounds like something out of a comic book. And all I could wonder is, like, what even are comic books in this universe? Is it like Watchmen, where they're about pirates? Like,
well, remember, like,
they're about like, have you seen Into the Spider-Verse?
yeah.
Where Spider-Man has his own like comic book lines and people read about it.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like,
And
also,
also-
they just make comics of these heroes that actually exist.
And also in My Hero, like, as far as the history of, like, the world, heroing is, quirks are new.
Well,
I mean, we're
like,
talking
within,
about
within like whatever.
But if we're talking about
the
the-
60 years that they
yeah,
were
we're talking about like the overall history of like culture.
right. Like it was
Quirks
regular
are, they
people,
are new.
and then
So it's not
You're talking
that
about
weird.
civilization and
then
stuff.
everybody
it's new.
became mutants.
Yeah,
That makes
Yeah,
sense. So it's not
every-
that weird to have pre-existing comic book tropes that these people are just following.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like there could have been comic books before the quirks.
yeah.
I
like in episode 5, Deku's talking with All Might, and he looks like starts nerding out, and All Might just says, "Getting creepy."
Like, all right.
And I
Wait,
love
does he
that-
say that? I don't
Yeah.
know if he says that
Oh,
in the.
Japanese.
In the Japanese, in the
He's
English.
almost in the Japanese one. He's almost like kind of flattered by it.
Oh.
Yeah, he's almost like okay, there's enough of that.
I love when
Just,
All
like, shut
Might.
it down.
In the English one, he
I love
is-
when All Might says
sorry.
little side things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's like, crew getting weird.
Might's
Like,
such a
this
great
is like
character.
lovely.
And the reason I like it so much is because it draws attention to his relationship with Deku, in that, at least in the English dub, it's like he's keeping Deku's nerdiness in check.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, it's like that. But I think he doesn't say creepy. I think he actually refers to him as fanboy. Like that's
Oh, yeah.
what he calls him. He's like, wow, like he's like a blue and true fanboy. Like that's what you are. You are a fanboy at heart. We gotta stop that.
But yeah, like,
we gotta-
All Might is like, hey, Izuku, you're not gonna make any friends like this. Like, you need to cut it back, man. Like, you
Right.
know, it's a long 4 years of high school, buddy.
I wrote, this is an episode where that we get an interesting glimpse when All Might's on the beach, the very beginning of the episode, when
Yeah.
they're on the beach and they're like, Deku's talking about how he can't use his powers, he doesn't know how to do it, not at 100% yet, and he's like, oh, we'll learn around. Also, one of my favorite All Might bits, when Deku's like, oh, it's like an egg in the microwave, and All Might's like that's kind of boring,
but
accurate.
yeah, go with it.
It's like,
If it works
in
for you.
English, he
passionate.
says if it works for you, yeah, okay.
yeah.
This is why you don't have any friends.
I think this is important because we see an actual shift in All Might's persona here.
Mm-hmm.
That in the next couple episodes we follow him, that he's really trying to figure out. He has a new purpose now.
Yeah.
It's no longer to be All Might. It's no longer to be the number one hero. It's
And-
as I've passed on. It says to make the flame that he's passed on grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
He's-
see a
he's-
lot of that is about him learning to be
He's
Chico
beginning to
Sai.
show personality.
Right.
Instead of just being just like, you know, the Captain America Superman guy, you're like, oh, he's a person.
And he's now seeing that as he's trying to cultivate this new, he's passed down his legacy, right? And then in the next few episodes, he's a teacher at UA, and he's learning, oh, it's not just Deku I have to do this for.
Yeah.
I
It's
have to be a
all of
teacher.
these kids.
I'm not even a mentor anymore.
And so-
I'm a teacher.
The potential for this, this character growth, it happens all right at once.
Yeah.
And I think this was like the crux of that spark for him, was that scene where they're on the beach walking away. And so I wrote that down because I got really cool. I got really excited about it. Also, back to Aizawa for a little bit. His superhero name is Eraserhead.
Yeah.
Which
That's my favorite superhero name so far.
they explain it later.
He
Or
just
did they explain it in that?
They explained it in this
it
episode.
really
later.
likes
Next episode?
absurdist cinema, I figured.
I wrote at the end of the episode, Deku finally gets creative, like what Aizawa's
Oh,
been
yeah.
preaching the whole episode.
Yeah.
And then I wrote, ouch, though.
Ouch, though. Yeah, because he breaks his finger.
It looks really painful. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
He's
the way
he's
they
already-
animate his face, I'm like, I
Well,
feel
he's
that.
already broken his both legs and arm entirely.
Right, he's felt the pain, but he kind of just passes out from it. This
Yeah,
is the first
this
time
This is
we're-
one of, yeah.
Yeah,
he
he's
made
got
the
to feel it.
active choice I'm going to break my finger.
Yeah.
And even though that's less body, I can see, like, I did a thing and then I broke my arm is almost less painful than I gotta do a thing and it's gonna break my finger.
Because he didn't know the first time.
Yeah.
What was gonna happen.
Like
when
imagine,
you punched the robot, he
imagine
didn't know.
slamming your finger in a microwave while it was going on and being shocked by lightning at once.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what it looks like to me. I'm like...
Yeah, with that fucking glow. That glow shit.
The plasma. The green plasma.
I want to bring this up now because I think it'll come back later.
Okay.
There's a lot of objectivist undertones in this, and I wonder where they're going with that.
In terms of...
A lot of time, they literally say the sentence that not all men are created equal, like a bunch, which is extremely objectivist.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to undo that, or if they're going to double down on that, or what the story's take on that sort of belief is. But I think it's going somewhere with it, and I'm interested to see where it goes with it.
I mean, they haven't... All they've gone so far is sort of like his... I have to work harder than other people because I didn't have a quirk.
I'm trying to think, is it...
And I don't exactly
People
know...
have to learn different things with their different quirks?
I don't exactly know where that fits into this narrative so far. Like, it's not like the X-Men,
Yeah.
right, where they're looked down upon by society,
Where
which is a clear...
They're
like,
fighting for their civil rights.
Right, like, it's a clear,
With Professor
historic...
Martin Luther King Jr.
Well, and I was even thinking, like... The Incredibles, where the whole point of The Incredibles is that they are apparently superior, and that everybody else is, like, scared of that, which is a very, very, like, Ayn Randian thing.
Right. I mean, there is this scale of we're all working towards something at different scales. Like, we're all working towards our goal in different ways, and everybody's journey is different.
And there are themes of, like, understanding your power and knowing that, like, you're not all going to be All Might.
Yeah.
This is
understanding your place of, like, what you can do the best to serve, how you want to help.
Yeah.
But you can be a hero in your own way. You can make that path. Just like, I mean, I would
like
say...
later in the show, they go over, like, you know, there's heavy hitter heroes, there's rescue heroes, there's heroes that do different levels and different types of things, and...
You play video games, you play D&D, right? We have different purposes of playing, like, a team game, like, there's a rogue, there's people that do different things in the game, right? And just like in real life, there's people that love being part of the societal, like, business, and this is what we do, and we're making money, and we're raising kids, and then there's people who like to be a part of the creative stuff, but the creative stuff's important for all, you know, the other people as well, just as, you know, they go into that in terms of the society aspect. I don't
know about, like,
feel
from
like
the telling the
personal,
story
other than Deku's current, like, where he's at currently.
Yeah, is that he has to work so much harder because he is
Well, that's
lesser
what
than
he
everyone else.
feels like right now. And I don't know if that really continues.
That's interesting.
Or if that helps him sympathize with other characters.
I just wonder, because the sentence not everyone is created equal
It's very...
that's a very loaded sentence to just throw out
I wrote
there
it down
and forget
too
about.
because you know, it is a really loaded sentence, and it's really important clearly to Deku in the moment of this arc right now. Of, like, him and Bakugo's relationship, right? The talented kid who's good at everything and has been, you know, on essentially, you know,
pedestal.
You know, well, the white kid minority level, right? Or, like, the rich kid, poor kid level, like...
Or, like, in, like, I would say, like, in sports, like, Bakugo was the kid who was just really good.
Right.
Right
I mean, I can relate that to acting
them.
too.
Everybody praised them.
You know, personal story, right? I started out in high school doing a bunch of, like, you know, chorus stuff, and I had a best friend who's the same age as me who got a lead role freshman year, and he was the leads every year until, you know, our senior year where I took the lead and he wasn't the lead, and it was like, you know, almost in the same vein of, like, he had his, like, Bakugo moment where he was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's like in one of these one of the next episodes is when Bakugo shows his power in front of the class, and, like, the teachers are, like, kissing his ass, gassing him up. They're like, oh my god, that's such a great power.
Yeah,
literally, all
You're
the
gonna be
time.
so cool.
Because he spent his entire life being told that he would be great, which, first of all, that's a lot of pressure to just put on a kid, to be like, oh, you're going to be great. And then he hears this time and time again and starts internalizing it. And this is just his life now, telling himself, I am great.
Yeah.
And every time that he's ever confronted with not being perfect, he beats himself up for it. Yeah, because he's been told that he has to be.
And he beats himself up, and it's weird, the way he talks to other people, and, like, that's almost a separate issue. Like, his social skills are almost something separate than what's actually going on with this character, which is why I think it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Why he's so interesting to analyze, because he, at his core, isn't a bad kid. Like, in terms of, if you noticed, I mean, I don't know if we're going in order in terms of episodes here.
We've been kind of skipping around, but maybe this is a good time to start talking about episode 6.
Yeah, is this the episode where they start the big fight? They start the big
Yeah, because the episode starts off with
Outdoor.
All Might coming into the class.
This is where they're about to... episode 6 is Rage, you damned nerd.
I wrote, ouch, I feel attacked. Right under the title name.
In this episode, Deku finds out that he placed last in the assessment from the previous episode, but that he will not be expelled because he was so creative that Aizawa was impressed. Though Aizawa doesn't tell him that.
He has more than zero potential.
Yes.
That's the specific, like, he has potential to be a hero in Aizawa's eyes, which apparently means something to All Might.
Yeah.
Whatever their relationship is.
Oh, I think they make the relationship fairly clear that it's like Aizawa is a very strict human being,
Right.
and All Might
Reserved,
is much...
almost.
Yeah, and All Might is very more optimistic. So when he sees that Aizawa is willing to make this sort of exception, that means a lot. Even though it's the tiniest exception, it still means a lot that he fudged it.
For our Naruto fans, All Might is Jiraiya.
Yeah, I have that written down too.
Kakashi.
Yeah. It's Kakashi and Jiraiya teaching Naruto, right?
Also, one of the things I wrote down for this is All Might is really like that guy. Because when he shows up in the class in a different costume, they notice.
Oh yeah,
And they say, that's his Silver Age costume. That's so cool.
Who says that? Is that
the tape kid or the electric kid? It's one of those two, I think.
Yeah. That's a big
But
deal.
it's like they know his different costumes. Like he is such a cultural icon. And
they recognize when he's changed.
And then you
costumes.
see Deku's goddamn costume.
I have it written
like,
here.
Mother.
His mom bought his jumpsuit heart. I forgot how cute, in all caps, I forgot how cute his bunny costume is.
Yeah, that's the first thing when I first saw like images for the show. I was like, why is he dressed like a rabbit?
That's what I thought too. He looks so
he have some
rabbity.
hopping powers? Like, is this what the show's gonna be? But
He had to make it at least a little bit not on the nose that he's an All Might fan.
But All Might immediately notices though, almost like you really fucking god damn it, bro.
Which is, but I mean that's important. That's all important stuff. His Deku's self, like trying to be All Might is important. That's it's super important, and I love how in depth they're acknowledging it right away.
Yeah, is that he is a huge fan of All Might's and he wants to be him and idolizes him. And what I also like about this costume is that they go out of the way to make a point that everyone at this school got their costumes because they had made requests to the school and the school had provided something that they thought was appropriate based on their requests.
Yep.
Deku got his costume because his mom loves him and wanted to show him that she believed in him.
And she made it, or she got it made, or whatever, based off of one picture she just offhand saw.
Yeah.
Like, how cute.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly. So as a result, this costume ends up being a symbol of...
That's what moms do.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me, I know. Hey, Summer, you want to put up that picture of me dressed up as Mega Man when we were in the fucking third grade?
They find out the simplest bit of information, and they create you an entire thing based off of that.
Yeah.
But I like also that he wears it into battle, so it becomes this whole symbol of this is who I am, and this pride that I feel because my mother believes in me is something that is deeply inside of
Even though at this point in the show, like he kind of has beef with his mom.
Yeah,
Like
he
him and
does.
his mom are not.
They're
on
not
the great-
really
on the best
talking.
terms.
But this was a important step in her saying, I think that I
I'm
messed
sorry.
up and
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's
I think
lovely.
he accepts her apology because he
does.
wears the costume.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he clearly loves his mother, but they're not exactly in talking terms because he's going to what's considered like a dangerous school, or if we're talking about acting, right? If we're talking about the illusion of acting,
Yeah.
we're going to a school that's not going to get us a degree. That's going to
Yeah, which is really terrifying.
That's
for
not
parents.
right. Like, it's not going to get you a job in the real world. Like, yeah, but we're going for the training. We're going to follow and become the thing that we want to become, right?
Yeah.
We want to be a superhero.
And it's also a moment in his life where he's starting the journey that his mom said he couldn't do.
Yeah.
So, even if the past couple of years they've been good, now he's getting this remembrance of she told me I couldn't do this.
5 years old when she told him that.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Think about holding on to that for your entire childhood.
Which is like, my mom would have lied to me. My mom would have been like, yeah, you're going to be a superhero, baby. You got it. You got it. My mom would have lied to me.
Yeah.
My mom wouldn't have. She didn't. I told her I wanted to be an actor, and she shut that shit down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were very realistic with me, which is weird because I am.
Yeah, you're at
I did it.
You're doing it. I didn't have that struggle. I've got my family was super supportive of getting me out here. They were like, you know where you're supposed to be.
My family's been supportive, and they love me, and I love them, and they've, done what they can, but
they were like, yeah, come on.
But they've spent a lot of time sort of, I'm not going to say not believing in me, but being confused by the business, I think, and intimidated by it.
I think my mom dabbled in the business for like a while, and my dad's a musician, so like they kind of get it, like in terms of like the jump. Because my brother's not like that. My brother's like going to college and doing like the serious stuff, so I'm kind of like the other aspect of that. So they're like, I guess not worried from that perspective. I don't really know, but very supportive. Like,
another thing about All Might's costume is I love the shot of
the
him.
Silver Age one, or
the Silver Age one. Okay. I love the shot of him in the full costume, taking notes on the battle so that he can criticize them later.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, yes. While he's wearing this ridiculous super Captain America costume, like, yes, yeah, he didn't check the building
All
first.
Might's character.
Now, in this episode, they are split into teams of heroes and villains. The villains have to protect a dummy nuclear bomb inside one of their fictional uninhabited cities. The heroes have to claim the bomb or capture the villains in order to win this little flag football sort of event.
Right.
Now, we start off that... I want to say Todoroki, but it's not Todoroki. What is her name?
Ochiko.
Thank you.
Uraraka.
Thank you. And Deku end up being the heroes, where Ida and Bakugo play the villains.
The for real, like, OTP.
Yeah.
I love them. They're so cute. I'm sorry. They're so cute. Like, can we address the romance?
They are really cute,
between
yeah.
Uraraka and Deku, like, right off the bat. Like, that's the intention. And they just roll with it.
Yeah.
And it's cute,
they're both so
and it's allowed to
naive,
be
and they're
cute.
both so young.
Yeah. And it's allowed to be cute. No other really characters really, like... I mean, there's the one moment, I think, with... what's his name? The Thunder guy. He, like, hits on her, and then she just, like, walks away from him and goes immediately to Deku in one of the scenes. Like, that's the only glimpse that we get, like...
Yeah.
Of, like, other people affected by it. But everybody's kind of just like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody in the class is kind of just like, yeah, that's that. And I think that's just so sweet.
Yeah. This episode... Oh, sorry. And
then I was also going to comment on the other pairing, right? What I said previously, right? That scene where Bakugo's like, you side character, and then he gets teamed up with him.
Yeah. And this is a really good episode
it's like,
for...
I'm not exactly side character anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This is a really good episode for talking about the relationship between Ida and Bakugo, because they are polar opposites.
Absolutely.
Absolute polar opposites.
In every way.
Well, what are they? They're another two tropes of school anime.
Right.
There's the bad kid who doesn't button his shirt all the way up and sits in like the back of the class, usually near the window with his feet up.
But if we're talking about how My Hero does it differently,
Yeah.
Bakugo sits in the front of the class.
Mm-hmm. Well, second row, but the front. Yeah. His character would usually sit in the very last
Back,
row.
right.
And Tenya is shirt buttoned to the top. He doesn't wear glasses.
Yeah, he wears glasses.
But he never does the, like we talked about before, he never does the push-up
right.
thing
He does,
I haven't noticed
with the glare.
His
He doesn't
character
ever
is
do
the
it.
demeanor of somebody that seems like they would be
The uptight. Well, he is
thinking
uptight.
about things before they happen, which he is, but his decision making is not like what you would assume like from that. You wouldn't just think that he's making decisions based off of what he's learning. He still makes brash decisions of being a young man that he's like constantly overcoming.
He's uptight, but not an asshole.
Yeah, I have written down he's Javert, because he's
Nice.
effectively Javert.
Right.
He has a set of rules, and he's going to take them very, very seriously and not waver from them. But that doesn't mean he's a bad dude.
Yeah.
He just sees the world in black and white.
He's just, I grew up very nicely and I follow the rules.
Right, and
because that's how things work.
in the tropes of these shows, for the most part, the character would most likely be a foil or like another antagonist to the protagonist. In this case, it's
usually.
not. In this case, he literally opens up right at the beginning of these episodes after the like audition episode.
Yeah.
The exam episode, right? He goes up and he shakes Deku's hands and he's like, "I'm learning so much from you already."
Because plenty of shows, like,
Right.
the Bakugo type character would be the main character. And
Right.
then the uptight guy in the front would be
Like the Bakugo.
would be at least the bad guy, like, in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then usually join the
Or
team
like-
later. But he'd be an obstacle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of like other bad guys, we've got a fuck. What's his name? The Fire Lord Prince from Avatar. Yeah, we got Prince Zuko hanging out. But ice.
Oh, the temperature guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a guy who just controls the temperature of things.
Todoroki,
Todoroki.
like I have in my notes, just Todoroki in all capital letters. Because in my imagination, like as a kid and stuff, that was always the powers that I wanted. Fire and ice.
Nice.
Right.
Freezer burn.
To be Iceman and the Human Torch.
I think what is it? It's I think it's like ice and warm or like what
They call
hot-
it?
They call
Half,
it like
half hot, half cold.
yeah
Yeah,
hot-
which is
whatever,
weird. I
half-
thought, why not just call
half
him
cold, half
temperature?
yeah right
He
right.
can control the temperature of things. Why are you making it unnecessarily
Yeah.
complicated?
Well, because a lot of they get names, but at this point, they're named just like very like their power.
They all
It's
have
like insert explanation of power is what their name
Well,
is.
Oh, okay, and this guy's
also,
gonna be like, hey,
Later on, they get named.
people
I'm
have
freezer burn.
because it is genetic, right? Too, people have quirks that are the same.
Yeah.
So like they have generic terms for quirks that are like, oh, this is a this kind of quirk.
Yeah.
This is a this kind of quirk.
Like I said last time, Pikachu, the electric bounce Pokemon.
Yeah, he's an electric Pokemon,
Yeah.
right?
It's like Todoroki, the
like-
half cold, half hot hero.
Yeah, right. So we've got more half cold, half hot heroes, but Todoroki just happens to be one of them, right?
Oh, okay.
Bakugo, what I can't remember. Is it just explosion? Is the term?
Explosion,
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
explosion. Other explosion characters, they might not all be nitroglycerin based,
But they
They
create
have some kind of
explosions.
explosion. Also, this is a very shallow thing, but I want to say it anyway. I think Bakugo's costume is one of the best costumes of anyone I've ever seen. It's amazing.
so good. The grenade hands. I want
Yes.
to do a Bakugo cosplay so bad.
The main part,
it's amazing.
the main part of his costume that's like so over the top is the shit behind his head.
Oh, yeah,
that
he's got
serves no
wings.
like we find out the grenades serve a purpose, but that shit behind his head is just all flare.
Yeah.
It's just I have these giant
There's these huge
fish fins
friggin' smoke deflectors
behind my head. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
But I got them.
I have a quote written down by All Might about this, the 2-on-2 villain versus hero thing that they're doing here, and their first class of heroing, or their hero class, or whatever they call it. The quote is, "In a world of heroes, truly intelligent villains hide in the shadows."
That's very true. I'd forgotten about that, but he's right.
Yeah,
And, like,
he's talking about
He's like, yeah,
battles happen underground in layers.
yeah, we fight people
Like
on
the
top.
really
yeah,
bad
sure.
people.
But the smart ones know that we need to fight in buildings. We need to fight where there are
Like,
people
yeah.
at. Because
Because what they show in the beginning of the show, you have the villain that doesn't really know what he's doing, and he's just in the middle of the street at like noon, just acting a fool.
right,
Yeah. And
But-
the whole world expects this to
Yeah.
happen. So
But
there's
in
already
most-
people there.
Even in most like comic books and stuff, the bad guy is in his lair. He's in the empty warehouse, and he's got his plan, and he's sitting back waiting.
the
for the right
recurring
time.
bad guys do.
Yeah, the recurring bad
The
guy.
recurring bad guys are the
And then-
gangsters who are behind.
Yeah, and then you have
yeah.
your beginning of the issue bad guy who's robbing the bank at 2 p.m. during rush hour.
Well, I think this is a
Batman
lot
shows
like
up, locks him up.
this is a lot like also the that Adam McKay movie, The Other Guys, that everybody sort of forgets about because it has its point is sort of forgotten.
Oh, with
With Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about these guys who basically find the big bad not by doing anything. They have big like cops who are doing glamorous stuff.
yeah,
going out fighting
when they
crimes.
start off with with The Rock and who?
Samuel L. Jackson, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're like the greatest, and they're like, oh my god, this is gonna be an amazing story about them, and they're gone.
Yeah, and they do, well, because they keep doing weird death-defying things and big, glamorous, impressive-looking things, whereas the Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg characters are finding weird mistakes in architecture and places where they're cutting corners, and you find out the really, truly evil people are the ones who are hidden away safely in offices.
I mean, which they, and then they go on to show you in this show is that the heroes that succeed are the heroes that put in the work and learn all the little things.
The people who pick up litter on the beach, not the ones who fight bad guys.
Yeah, and I'll say this again and again because we're learning right now. Like it's like the audience is actually taking the class with the students. Like we are actively learning what they're trying to convey in these episodes. And I have yet to really experience another show that does that in this vein. Like, I feel like I just took a class in superheroing. Like, I really feel like I just got out of class, I learned that, especially since I'm taking notes and treating it like homework for this podcast. But I really feel like not a lot of things do that. Like, when you watch Batman or whatever, yeah, cool, we're figuring it out with Batman, cool, we're figuring out the story.
But guess what? Batman is always relegated to a training montage.
Right.
You don't ever do the training with them.
Yeah, we're learning and we're training with them. We're learning when they learn something creative. We're like, whoa, we didn't even think about that before.
Yeah,
it's also things that they just gloss over,
right?
And that it's like you're assumed to know. Like even if Captain America isn't your favorite hero, you might call him the best hero because he connects with the people and he does little things. And they like when you like I read Captain America comics and it's like they show him. And he goes to little towns and he helps people out with like the tiniest of problems. But that's what it takes to be a hero. Right. But most of the time you read a comic book and it's just, hey, I'm gonna go fight the Green Goblin on top of the Empire State.
We want the Infinity War. We want the End Game. Like we as consumers want that. Yeah. And likewise in the show they talk about that. Like they want the All Might fights. People are obsessed. Yeah. Like everybody in the class, only Deku knows who Eraserhead is.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody else knew who he was. Everybody was like the best person was like, I think I've heard that before.
Right. Well, that actually brings me to a good point in episode 7, which is the Deku versus Kachan. In this one, it's a continuation of episode 6, but this one focuses mostly on the fact that Bakugo has cornered Deku in the building, and they fight for the majority of the episode.
Right.
And Deku ends up getting the slip on him at first because he's studied Bakugo's fighting style. So not only because Deku is a nerd, but also because Deku is specifically impressed by Bakugo. Well, he likes and looks up to this guy.
Yep.
And that I thought that was so sweet that he took him down in a fight because he cares about and is impressed by him.
And oh my gosh, can we talk about the ability? He's now physically stronger than he was before. He had no physical confidence. This is the first time Deku's literally, and I'm not talking about with quirks, without quirks.
Without quirks, he could fight Bakugo.
And theoretically win.
Yeah.
Based off of his own physical strength as a human being, not with the quirks.
They are on an at least equal footing.
Shows that he's paying attention, and he's been paying attention this entire time.
Yeah.
Because even smart Deku couldn't have done the arm grab and the flip.
No.
He just wouldn't have been strong enough.
No, yeah exactly. That comes with the training that he did with, with All Might.
I'm just a refrigerator. I can flip you.
Yeah. Right. Like... And the confidence there, he's like, I know exactly where to grab. And he does it. Yeah. What does Uraraka say? She says, he's like a martial art master. and you're like, I guess if I was watching that, literally all the kids in the class are impressed. And they talk to him afterwards. They're like, yeah, they know his quirk is crazy and powerful and what they've seen it before. But
they've also seen that it doesn't look like he can use it twice.
The biggest part that they mention is watching... like him do the stuff like use Aizawa's carbon fiber stuff.
Yeah.
Like who expected him to bring that onto the field? I didn't. I actually forgot he had that in the first time I watched that episode and rewatching it was like
the tape.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And this also really shows that Deku is such a good planner because it actually opens with him working out his current plan.
Yep.
Which is built on the fact that he understands Ida and Bakugo's psyches so well. Because Bakugo is out fighting them, which actually... He says this in the show, that is a bad idea.
Yep.
Bakugo is the stronger, more powerful one. He should be guarding the bomb.
And
Ida,
King is
the one
fast.
who's fast, should be the one out there scoping them out.
But because of a personal grudge, which I mean, let's talk about the title of the episode. You got it, guys. You got it. This one. You got the title this time. Like, we figured it out. It's because it's Deku and Kachan. We got it.
And he knows that, okay, if Bakugo is out here doing the wrong thing, Tenya's definitely just right at the bomb, chilling, doing the right thing, because that's all he can do, and he's got a cover for his teammate that's not doing shit.
Yeah. And this comes to a head with their fight, where Deku has to find a way to use One For All, because if he doesn't, Bakugo will kill him. But if he does use One For All on Bakugo, he will kill Bakugo. So...
Also, Kachan won't kill him.
Exactly, that's also a good point.
Bakugo won't kill him, and he misses. He misses his first blast. I mean, Deku gets out of the way, right? And it's a big deal of him using that in the first place.
Exactly, because he has the opportunity to kill him.
He says it out loud. He's like, not if he jumps out of the way. Because All Might's like, that will kill him, right? And he's like, not if he gets out of the way. And so he doesn't aim directly at Deku. He just aims it to blow up the side of the wall. And he does that on purpose. One of my favorite things about the show is watching Bakugo do things. If we're talking about how smart Deku is in the moment, Bakugo's just as smart in the moment. We actually watch that, and Todoroki, this is the first time we hear him speak, I think. He actually comments on Bakugo's fighting abilities. So when he comes in for the right swing, but then he's not actually swinging, and he jumps into the air, flips over, and swings in with his left.
And they all sort of admire that he's sort of figured out the physics of that in the moment.
And well, also Todoroki says he learned that Deku knew his right swing.
Oh, he actually picked up on that right away.
He picked on it right away.
And
also, Deku said it out loud, which in full comic book trope, like, I'm going to tell you my plan. Like, well, he's like, I had this book. I wrote down that you like your right swing. And Bakugo was paying so much attention to that, he actually responds with, this is your favorite right swing, when he actually knows he's going to land it.
Yeah.
Because when Deku was saying it, I was literally waiting for him to show his mouth to be, okay, is that internal monologue or external? I was like,
he says it out loud.
Yeah.
Because they show him from behind when he starts it, I'm like, is he saying it out loud or is he saying it in his head? Or he's saying it out loud?
Yeah, well, and I want to talk also about the fact that Bakugo actively tries to not kill Deku, despite the fact that he has multiple options to do so. And All Might even comments on it. He says, no, he's not, like, he won't kill him. He can, but he won't.
Which is the biggest thing into understanding Bakugo's character, because his verbiage and all of his, like, social skills would tell you that he's otherwise not like that.
Yeah.
That he would otherwise, that I'm gonna murder you. And
I want to beat you so hard they have to end the
but
fight.
he's just an edgy kid, man. Like, they're not adults like we are. Like, if somebody was at our age and saying shit like that, we'd be like,
yeah,
that's pretty weird. But when you're what, 15, 16, and you're like, well, I don't even know how. They're probably younger, right? They're probably, because this is first year in
They're
high
going
school.
into high school, so like
right, straight from middle school.
Yeah.
They're probably like
depending on
13,
birthdays.
14. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the age where you're drawing that, like, that one S that everybody draws. Like, that's.
I coach kids that age. That's the age where you're drawing dicks on everything.
That's when I started watching Bleach. So whatever that means to you, like,
if you want to see some action.
I also think that it's crazy because Bakugo is constantly almost killing Deku, and he keeps provoking him. And to me, it feels like he's provoking him because he wants Deku to use his quirk specifically to prove that he could survive it.
I think you're right. Or that specifically that he can beat him.
Yeah.
He wants him to use. He wants to fight on equal playing field. He feels like Deku is hiding something from him by not using his quirk.
And if he kills Deku, he doesn't prove to Deku that he's stronger than Deku. Because
That's
Deku's
also a
dead.
good point.
He doesn't find out.
And the big revelation in the next episode. Are we on episode 8 yet? Or
We're still kind of going over episode 7. There's a couple things I also want to touch on.
Okay, then I'll wait. Because I was going to talk about some of the resolutions to some of the stuff that happens in the fight that kind of affects Bakugo.
And then my very simple explanation of the fight is Naruto! Sasuke!
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the pinnacle, right, of, like, our shonen, like, hero and
It's them two just
and
yelling at each other.
anti-hero, right?
Yeah. It's Sasuke and Naruto.
Yeah,
because you haven't watched Naruto, but
they're
like
best friends
they're-
for some reason.
for whatever weird reason.
But they're still friends after like years and years of
Yeah,
not
and
seeing
yeah.
each other.
And then it's just Naruto's always yelling for something.
But I buy this relationship more.
Yeah. The only thing I have left in my notes before we go on to 8, and it is something I do want to talk about.
Okay.
I love Ida embracing evil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's like, if this is what it means to
Be
become
a
a,
hero.
better hero,
I will.
I'm
I will
going
do it.
full tilt.
This is the challenge. Has nothing to. He's not even thinking about the game. I've got to think like the bad guy so that I can defeat the bad guy.
he's
in
over
the
there,
future.
And it gets to the point where Deku contacts Uraraka. That's her name, right? Uraraka, thank you. I don't have it written down for some reason. But he contacts her and is like, what's he doing? And she goes, well, I mean, I think we've got time. He's monologuing.
She laughs.
Yeah,
she laughs at him, and Momo. Yayurozo?
I almost say Yajirobe.
Momo, she like comments on it, and she's like, "This is what she did wrong. This is what Ida did wrong. This is what all these other, I mean, obviously we have the two main, like their fight was already like weird, and like heroes wouldn't do this unless they were friends, and there was you never know.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's still thinking of this as like bad guys versus good guys. But at the end of the day, I think what makes that battle the most real of all these battles is that there was relationships and connections there.
Exactly.
Well, you only see 1.5 battles.
Well, yes, but I'm saying in terms of, like the test and what the test is supposed to mean. Because she says all these things, and All Might's like, yeah, you're right about all those things, and like learning to be a hero.
Which, after she wrote those things, I just wrote down in my notes Momo with a smiley emoji. I love her.
I want to talk about episode 8 now, actually.
Okay.
Because I did the same thing. I didn't write it down with the smiley face, but yeah, I did write down Momo is my favorite character. Because she totally is. I think you and I probably love her for the same basic reason. I love that her superpower seems to be just she's observant, and I'm like, fuck yeah,
No,
I'm there for that.
that's not even her quirk.
Really?
Wait, they didn't say what it is.
Yeah, they haven't shown her quirk yet.
They showed her doing
her-
something, but they didn't show how the quirk worked.
Her quirk is probably one of the coolest quirks.
Oh, cool. But I like that.
and one of the most overpowered quirks.
Yeah.
But I like that she sort of writes everything off with this level of.
She knows. As long as she has to know.
Yeah.
But I like that she
But
just writes everything off like really flippantly.
Yeah.
Like just guys.
Well,
come
she's
on.
based off of the the know-it-all character.
Mhm.
But and we don't really have a lot of it yet. But that's kind of yeah. There's more to it later that we'll get into and we'll talk about. But for now, they're addressing her as sort of she's the smart one. She's the one who knows why she's there. She knows what's going on, and clearly she seems to be the voice of reason of the group right now. That's the trope of the character that they're giving us.
Yeah.
Because they do that, right? I mean, every one of these characters, they're like, here's the trope, and then we're going to play it, evolve it into the three-dimensional character.
Like, she comes in as a character as if she's already been there for a year.
Right. Yeah. She seems like a second-year student, right?
Yeah.
I actually, when they first introduced her in episode 5, I thought she was like a student teacher. I thought that was the thing, because she's
also really tall.
Yeah, she's also really tall, and she seemed to be talking to and about Aizawa as if they were peers. So I assumed she was like an assistant or a student teacher.
I
or
love
something.
the idea of them being peers.
And then we get Todoroki just wrecking the exam.
Yeah.
Yes, and I love that intimidates Bakugo.
Which
he
I
realizes
wrote down.
he's perfect.
What did I wrote down?
Yeah,
Bakugo. Bakugo reality check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Where it's like Bakugo,
he says
really
that,
ain't shit.
He says that to Deku. He's like, it's not just the fact that I lost to you.
Yeah.
It's I lost to you, and then I watched the ice guy do his thing, and now I feel like I can't beat the ice guy, and I'm having this whole...
Yeah, and Momo broke everything down about what I did wrong, and oh shit, she was right.
Yes.
And there's all of this thing that there are now 3 people that he is intimidated by. At the beginning of this day, there was no one he was intimidated by. By sunset, there are 3.
Day 1. That's day 1 of the academy. Breaks you down, right? It breaks you down. You've got to be self-aware before you can improve, right? In anything that you do.
Yeah.
There's a line from Todoroki that just explains his character when he walks by tail guy, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, you can fight if you want to fight without the skin on the bottom of your feet."
Yeah.
And he's just so casual about it. That's at this point in the story, that's what his character.
But then when
is.
he wins,
his character is like toned down Bakugo.
Right. When he wins, when they win this thing, he says sorry afterwards.
Yeah.
He actually apologizes. That's, I think, a big
Yeah.
character note for him.
Yeah, it's like Bakugo, but maybe a little more mentally healthy.
And he gets
Similar
and he
personality.
gets, and he gets rid of all the ice.
Right.
That's true
When he
too.
knows he could have just walked off, and they probably had some shit from the school.
But that's what I'm saying. That's when he apologizes after he.
Yeah, he's like,
everybody's
yeah.
like, "How, how?"
Yeah,
He's
he's like,
like,
we won now, we're good.
He's like, I'm just here to get this A.
Mhm.
That's what I'm here for.
Which
Like,
is,
yeah.
I mean, we'll get there, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely what.
And yeah, I forgot about his costume in the very beginning.
I don't.
Where half of his
He
body
doesn't
is ice,
look like
and he
that.
has that red eye.
After this, a lot of
I
these
was like,
characters don't
"Oh,
look like this.
shit."
They get like costume changes. Obviously, we see Deku's costume get ripped off
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
from the beginning.
Well, because they rip off the most weird part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, oh
I
shit, I
like
forgot.
it.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like his bunny
Hey,
outfit. I miss it.
The bunny outfit. I was talking about Todoroki's.
Oh,
half
his
ice.
like bionicle ass. Fucking,
Yeah, it is the red eye for whatever
yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
It's like that one ice bionicle actually
Yes.
has a scope.
Yeah, and they literally make it so when he walks through the door, like it
It's got-
trails,
Right.
Mhm.
and it's like, what the fuck is this?
I also thought it was maybe some kind of weird reference to like Iceman. You ever seen the original Iceman
Yeah,
design?
he looks like a snowball.
He's just a snowball with two boots.
I feel
Oh.
there's got to be X-Men influence in this story.
Oh, probably. I
Well,
mean,
the original
they had the same
Iceman
premise.
was just that he didn't know his powers well enough.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as he learned his powers
He
more,
became more solid into X-Men.
I'm
no, so Iceman in the beginning, because I fucking love Iceman. I just love the concept because he's like ridiculously strong.
He's an Omega though.
You know, like Iceman could, like, if he was standing on the beach in Florida, he
Yeah.
could step into the water and like almost instantaneously step out on like a beach in Spain.
Oh, cool.
Like he has ridiculous levels of power.
Mhm.
But in the beginning, he wasn't turning into ice. He was covering himself in ice. Like the Iceman that you mainly know, where it's like he
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
looks like
He
a
was
block
like
of
putting
ice.
Yeah,
snow
yeah.
on himself.
As he got stronger and understood his powers more, and you see like the Iceman like in later comics and
Yeah.
stuff, is he found out that I can literally turn into ice.
Wait a minute. Is this an after the fact retcon to explain his ridiculous previous design,
It
or
might.
at the time where they like, no, he's covering himself in snow?
No, I don't know when they implement it.
It could-
I think
it
at the
could-
time, I mean, because Beast wasn't like a blue monster-looking thing. They just kind of. It's X-Men's weird history. I just watched a 4-hour documentary series about the X-Men.
The thing they did with Beast was like that he's gone through evolution, and that's why like in different series.
I always think it's so weird. Why
That-
do they
that
bother
is very-
explaining this? I don't
That is
care.
very retconny, but
Yeah.
but
Like, these are things I don't care about them explaining, but they always do.
It's a bunch
But
of different writers.
But they could always just be like, I don't know, we drew him differently. And I would be like, oh, cool, you drew him differently.
But the
I
Iceman
don't
thing
need
is
explanation.
there is a major
You're
there's
right.
a major story arc where somebody else gets in his body and looks and like uses his powers way better
Yeah.
and stronger than him, and he has this crisis where he's like, damn, I couldn't do any of that shit. So that plays into the part where like, damn, I used to be covered in fucking light. I used to look like a snowman, but now he can turn into ice. Like if Iceman turned into ice and you cut his arm off, he could just stick a foot into a pool
So-
and regrow an arm.
Oh, that's
easily
cool.
we can say that.
Yeah,
Todoroki
Iceman is-
probably
that's really
your favorite
cool.
character in this show.
Because Iceman's one of my favorite.
Okay,
characters.
so there we go.
I like Maverick.
Iceman is ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, is that a character in X? I was making a Top Gun joke.
I'm sure there's a character named Maverick in the Marvel universe at some point.
Probably.
Yeah, I love Todoroki.
What is so far? I mean, I'm just curious, Jacob. What is your favorite character so far?
Right now, it's. I think it is definitely Momo. She has like 2 lines, and they're both amazing.
Yeah.
And I love after she breaks down everything they did wrong, All Might realizes that he has no more notes, and that she just said all of his notes, and he has to
he's
like
like-
come up with one on the spot.
Yeah.
Which is exactly like every acting class.
I know.
It's every acting class ever. Is the teacher will be like, so, what did you guys think? And if you say everything they had, you can tell the teacher starts grasping at straws, and they're like, yeah, but they also could have relaxed a little more.
And it's also like the substitute teacher.
Yeah.
Where All Might is just starting as a teacher, and he's like,
Yeah, it is All Might's first day as a
yeah,
teacher,
his first day as a
right?
teacher,
Yeah.
and this is like,
I mean, he's learning.
Really.
All Might's my favorite right now, as we've as we might have known from the last episode.
So, kind of theme song.
Which it did play. It did play. It played in episode 8. It happens.
Nice.
When he goes and he touches Bakugo's shoulders.
Yeah.
And gives him that speech.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of my favorite scenes. We actually see Bakugo cry.
Yeah.
We see him crying when he's walking away from Deku, but then when he turns up to All Might, he's no longer crying. He got over his whatever his mental block was in that amount of time.
Well, I don't...
Not necessarily in the healthiest
Yeah,
way.
'cause I don't feel comfortable saying he got over it so much as he, like, packed it away so that he could ignore it. Like, he, like, packed it away
so that he would
I
show
don't think he's
All Might.
ignoring it. I think he's addressing it. And he's saying he looks at All Might and he says, I don't need you to tell me how to be the next All Might. I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try and I'm going to work harder.
I think packing it away in the moment that he has to show his face to All Might.
Maybe.
Just so that All Might doesn't see him crying.
Maybe.
And then later on, he's going to
But in terms of what he says to Deku, he says everything. He says he learned. He's like, I was afraid of this and this and this.
Yeah.
And I have never felt that before. I'm not... You won.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you win again.
Yeah.
Like, there's some other issues for sure he's got to deal with, like his like personality, like pride stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of his actual... He's not broken anymore about what he was broken about when you see him lose for the first time. You see him, like, realizing and actually in fear when he watches Totoro. He's walking away and he's crying and he's upset, and then he turns around and he's like, Deku, why are you talking to me like this? I want you to be, like, why are you talking nonsense to me?
Yeah.
Like, be real with me because you won.
Yeah.
And I was scared of all these people after I lost for the first time. But now, I'm not going to let you win again. So be prepared. Because I'm prepared now.
I feel like... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I feel like I also... Maybe I'm so hesitant to say that he's past it, partially because I feel like...
In general.
Well, that too, but also, like, I feel like I was that way when I was 14, and it took me, like, 10 years to get past those blocks.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Look, okay, I'll give you that. Maybe not, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Actually, no, I'm saying I think you're right. I think you are right, and he has. It's just, like, my knee-jerk reaction is no, because I have, like, a personal investment.
For me, that's what makes Bakugo an interesting character, is he processes things really fast. Like I said, he knows he's not going to kill Deku, and he's threatening Deku. Like, he is going to, but he knows in his brain that he's not going to do it. Because he knows how to be a hero.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants to be. He wants to be the number one hero. He wants to be the next All Might, which is, very, very... He wants to be the best of the best.
Yeah, well, I would even say that his main thing is that he doesn't want to be the next All Might. He wants to be the first Bakugo.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, so hard.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's even more appropriate for what he says to All Might.
Yeah.
When he looks back and says, hey, I don't need you to tell me how to be the next All Might. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, I don't need your help to get over this. Like, I know how to get through this. I'm just dealing with it right now.
Yeah, because he
thinks
All Might he can do it on his own.
All Might even backs off. He's like, okay. He's like, actually, All Might respects that. He's like, all right, you got it.
But I don't know if All Might is doing more of the dad, teacher, coach thing where it's like, all right, yeah, you think you're going to do it on your own, but... I'll back off now.
I think All Might actually does have respect. I don't think he's a good enough dad, teacher, coach to feel that way.
I took it a totally third way. I saw it as Bakugo hadn't fully processed this yet, and All Might, who also doesn't fully understand emotions, just believed him without question.
Just two lost motherfuckers. No, I'm over it. Oh yeah, you do sound like
and then we get the three girls in the windowsill commenting about it. What does Uraraka say? She says, what did she say? She said something very... I didn't write it down, but I thought it was so funny. She's like, it's like the start of a battle between men or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
She has some, like, weird offhand line, because obviously she's, like, fawning over Deku, right?
Yeah.
The scene, watching these two boys leave school. And then the other girls are all there, too, right? Because these are clearly the two hottest guys in the class. Like, come on. We've got this, like, crazy guy, but, like, kind of hot because he's really good at what he does. And then we've got this, like, really sensitive soul who's also, like, super powerful.
Yeah.
Right? Like, clearly the hottest guys in class.
It's interesting because I really do feel for Bakugo.
I do too. Man, he's one of those characters that is just so exciting because, fun fact, for those of you who don't know, I absolutely hate Sasuke's character in Naruto.
And he's the Bakugo of Naruto?
He's the foil character
because
for Naruto.
Sasuke isn't a character.
Sasuke's not very well developed in terms of, like, three dimensions until later on, like later, like he's an adult now, and they've gone into what he does now in the next generation, right? He is a character.
Like I always say about Sasuke, what does Sasuke do on his day off?
You wouldn't be able to know.
Oh,
he just sits there and broods.
You can tell what Bakugo's going to do on his day off.
Yeah,
you know that he's either going to be
like you at least get to see Bakugo, like as a kid. When they're walking to the forest, they're gonna go catch bugs or something.
Yeah. You have a personality that extends beyond his trope.
All you ever see Sasuke doing is sitting on a bench, sitting on a stoop, sitting on stairs, and he's just like deep in thought.
Well, Sasuke's a thinker, right? But he's always thinking about the same thing. They only tell you that he's thinking about avenging his family's death. Like that's his whole.
And you need a personality that extends beyond your thing.
Yeah, he does go through a traumatic thing that ruins his life, but he has. I don't know anything about Sasuke.
But Bakugo's whole thing isn't, I'm going to be the best of the best and I'm going to take down everybody with me. It's, he's going to be the best of the best, but he has all these other things going on. He has this, like, weird relationship with All Might that you might not see right now, but he does have it. It's mentioned a couple times so far in the show where he's like, I want to be the number one hero. And the way he addresses and talks to All Might is interesting. It's not like any other student. He's the only one who ever dismisses All Might. Everyone else is like, All Might's a superhero. Yeah. He's the only one. It's like almost the direct opposite of Deku, who's like, I love everything about you. Baku's like, I don't need you.
Yeah, Bakugo's he's more main character in that sense.
Yeah, it is almost weird.
Most anime, the main character, like they meet a legendary person, and they're just like, oh, goddamn grandpa doesn't know what he's talking about. Like Naruto does that. Yeah.
I can't tell you how much Bakugo I was when I was 14. It's the same way you meet somebody famous and you're like, I'm not fucking impressed. It's the same way you get full of rage, you believe you can do everything on your own, and that I can process all of my own personal emotions without your help.
Right. I connect really strongly with Ida, who... we'll get more of him in going through his personal stuff. They all go through personal young people stuff, which is amazing. Every single one of these characters, while they're not the protagonist, which is Midoriya, right?
Yeah.
They're all recurring major characters. All of Class 1A, all important.
Yeah.
They all have smaller arcs throughout the stories and stuff. So getting to know the names of the characters, getting to know the personalities and the relationships of the characters is what this show is really all about.
Yeah.
Or at least remembering that, Electric Guy. Because I don't remember
everybody's name. Yeah. I remember the names of the characters I really care about.
Yeah.
Like
Todoroki.
I just think that if there's like one thing that Bakugo needs to still move past, he needs to stop beating himself up for his flaws. And that kind of thing takes years.
Well, we'll get to the...
But it's,
there's an explanation for why that is. Yeah. It's wonderful. Like, this show is so good, guys. Keep watching it, please. Watch it with us, please.
But even through, like, Season 4, I feel like I still haven't seen a reason why Bakugo is so mean.
I feel like I saw the reason... in this episode, he beats himself up for his own flaws, and he starts projecting that out.
No, but I'm talking about like since day one.
No, there's a reason. There's a reason.
Why he's a mean person.
Yes, there's a reason why. It's pretty obvious.
Why?
I can't say it right now because we're not there yet.
I don't know. I'm surprised that there's a twist because I feel like I get it already.
It's not a twist. It's just to add more. It's just to double down.
I mean, maybe I just haven't seen it as a reason, as a good justification.
Yeah, I'll tell you when we turn the
But as far as like seeing him, I'm like I don't see any reason why this kid needs to be so mean to
everybody. It's pretty cutthroat. Like I feel like it's in your face a little bit, but maybe I'm wrong. It's okay. Let's talk about some other stuff that happens in the episode. Like we see other characters?
We see All Might speaking with Recovery Girl while she's helping out. Yeah, while she's helping out Deku.
And you mentioned the other two people? Two.
Right.
Yeah, he sets up what I assume is an ongoing mystery.
His close friend, Recovery Girl. Who's the other person?
Oh, it's the principal.
Oh, yeah, the principal.
It's the principal.
And
the principal's silhouette looks like a dog.
Wait,
That's-
we haven't gotten to the
You
principal,
haven't
right?
seen him.
Yeah, we just had a silhouette, and the silhouette looked like a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
We haven't
Regardless,
The principal is awesome.
I know.
Principal's one of my favorite characters.
He's awesome.
I know. I say this sometimes when we talk about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
How I'll feel like the episodes aren't really episodes and they're just set up.
Yeah.
I want to point out the moment when All Might is setting up who knows his power, who knows that he about One for All and
Yeah.
their secrets.
There's a graphic.
And I think
everything.
that is really well done setup. Because if you end after this episode and never learn the answer to that mystery, you still get a complete story. But if you later return and talk about the answer to that mystery, then it can still be satisfying. And that's what I think makes for a really good self-contained episode inside of a larger arc.
Agreed. I think the storytelling in these episodes are definitely, like, it's just very solid.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're single episodes. Like, we've got, you know, we're going back to the title of the name, Deku versus Kachan. That's exactly what that episode is about.
Mhm.
We have Bakugo's start line, right?
Yeah.
His new start line. His realization that we've addressed
Exactly.
in this episode, right?
That's true. We haven't really talked about that, but this is where he's now restarting.
Yes, and,
Yeah.
and now we have this start line for both of our characters, for Bakugo and Deku. Deku started, right? Deku's start line was like when he got his, you know, he did his like One for All thing with All Might and proved himself. And
But now,
it's
he's a new realization.
But here's
that
a
he can do this.
Here's a different start line, and this is a start line of both of these characters who have the same essential goal, like they want to be superheroes, and they are officially rivals.
Yeah.
Officially,
For the
Bakugo
first
has
time
just
ever.
acknowledged that he was beaten by Deku, who he had previously thought to be useless, right?
Mhm.
Now Deku has beaten somebody who he's held up on a pedestal for the first time.
Yeah.
And he wants to keep working. He knows he wouldn't be able to do it again if it wasn't the circumstances, or if he
Exactly.
doesn't break his
Yeah.
arms and stuff. Like, Starline for both these characters holding each other accountable as rivals to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important.
Yeah.
At least for me, I know in my everyday life having somebody helping me hold myself accountable.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's not as fuck you. I'm gonna be better than you at this.
Yes.
You know what
but
I mean?
there is such a thing in reality as a healthy rivalry wherein you both respect each other and you're both at the same sort of level, but you keep pushing each other.
Right, and sort of in the vein that you're saying they're too young to respect each other yet.
Yeah.
But the bond is there,
Mhm.
and the relationship of rivalry is there.
I can totally see these kids hitting like 20 years old or so and having like a really good, solid friendship. It's going to take a lot of emotional labor to get there, but I can see
Oh.
that happening.
I'm rooting for it. I hope it happens. I want to see it happen.
You mean when Naruto and Sasuke grow up?
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts?
I am a Bakugo fan.
Mhm.
I'm still on Team Deku all the way, though. Actually, I'm on Team Uraraka because she's my one true love.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to buy a body pillow of her to put right next to my Alex Armstrong and Colonel Hughes body pillows.
Oh, nice. A whole cuddle
I'm,
puddle.
I'm Team Todoroki, and Team Momo, and Team like 2 or 3 characters that have not shown.
Yeah, if we could pick our out of Class 1A that we've seen so far, Jacob,
Mhm.
who would you pick to put in here? Like, if you had a team of 3, like they do in like everything.
Naruto.
Yeah. Like a team of 3.
If I had a team of 3 who would be a really effective team, or
Yeah.
who I'm just rooting to do well.
Or do whatever. Who would you like if it's a personality thing, who would you want to work with? The 3 characters you would want to
Oh,
work
who
with?
would I want to work with?
Yeah, if you had
Oh, well.
from Class 1A specifically, from the kids we've seen.
Well, I feel like it's hard to not do Shoto and Momo, because those are the 2 that seem already well adjusted.
Right.
Like, these 2 kind of already have their stuff figured out. And I guess for my third, I'm going to throw in Frog Girl. I don't know what her deal is, but I like that she's a frog.
She's awesome. Sue.
Soon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sue.
I'm gonna go with the third one being maybe the not rock guy
Yeah.
with the gear shoulders. Does he have it yet? Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's that rock guy.
Yeah.
They haven't
Oh,
changed
he
about
does
him.
have gear shoulders, I
Yeah,
guess,
he
in
has
his
gear
outfit.
shoulders. Yeah.
He's like the Red Rock or whatever his name is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kirishima.
Kirishima. Yeah. At this point, yeah.
He's really cool.
He's
I would say I'd want to work with him and Bakugo,
Mhm.
and like, I think it'd be interesting to have him, Bakugo, and Uraraka in like their power sets.
Yeah.
Being able to have like basically a floating like rock guy, I don't know, floating bomb guy, like too heavy passes
yeah.
and being able to maneuver like that. That's kind of like
Or you just use Kirishima as a missile.
yeah, or that. Yeah.
You take the weight off of him, and you have Bakugo shoot.
Jump on him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Thinking creatively. I'm learning, Aizawa. I'll take your class for less than $400 a week, please.
I want to make another third team, just out of people whose personalities I don't know, but whose powers I know.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go exercise tape guy, where his whole power is that he has exercise tape.
Dude, his
He
face
starts
great.
tape out of his.
He's
his elbow.
straight up just like Spider-Man, but he's
with
actually
tape.
got tape instead
Yeah.
of.
And he has that weirdly drawn face.
Oh, it's a.
No, I'm talking about his face.
Oh
Like
yeah.
his face is drawn differently.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I want to go with Birdhead guy. I don't even know what his power was, but he had
They
a bird
slightly
for a head.
showed it, but they didn't really.
He had like
Like I
ghosts
said, they
coming out of his
showed
back.
they showed everybody's powers, but didn't say what they
His
were.
quirk. Do you mind if I spoil the name? Just the name.
Yeah,
I won't
yeah,
tell you
just
what
know
it
the
does.
name of it.
It's called Dark Shadow.
I feel like I could have come up with that one on my own.
It's so good. I love it.
And for my third,
The little baby.
Mineta?
I don't know why I don't want to choose Baby Man, but something in
Baby
me is
Man.
making me not go Baby Man.
It's his personality. You wouldn't get along with him.
He's a very he's a character that can really only thrive in anime.
He is the character that points out all the like
Fan service.
fan servicey, like, oh, these are hot girls that we're putting,
Oh.
and he makes it blatantly clear that that's like, hey, this is how we draw. This is our art style we like. And so his whole purpose is to be the gross guy that's like, oh, you're hot. Oh, you're hot.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, you're a piece of shit. And that's why he's drawn and looks like a baby.
Oh, because he's a little baby.
Yeah.
And for number 3, I'm going to have to go Best Genist.
I
See you
lied.
next week.
I want wait, no, I gotta do mine. It's gotta be Kamui Woods, and Kamui Woods.
Who's Kamui Woods? Oh, he's the Groot from the first episode.
Yeah.
Oh, he's cool.
3 different
I'm
ones
Groot.
of those.
What about you,
guys.
Kenneth?
People who
Yeah, just on their powers.
I love. Oh, just on their powers.
Yeah.
God,
Just
I'm
hang
trying,
out with a bunch of Groots.
I'm trying to think of people who have only people that have showed up yet.
Oh, we got Aizawa.
Yeah, I love
Oh,
Aizawa.
yeah.
We've got All Might. He's on
I
the
love
table if
Aizawa
you wanna
player.
work with All Might.
I love how Aizawa is like he has the power, but then he has the bands because one day he's probably like, yeah, I can't
Just
I can't
Yeah.
just turn off people quirks. Like I gotta be able to do some other shit.
Right.
I like his costume design with the ninja
Oh, yeah, that is
thing,
cool.
and his goggles are fucking cool as fuck. I still don't understand how he makes the scarf float. I still don't.
I don't
I still don't get that.
Maybe.
But
It's anime.
Death Arms.
Oh, shit. Is that the guy who has the 6 arms and you just turn them into body parts?
No, that's
no.
the guy like the first episode where they're fighting the big shark.
Yeah.
He's just
What-
a big guy.
He
Oh,
just
got
has big arms.
It's called
This is Death Arms.
What is the guy who has the, 6 different arms that you can turn into different body parts? That's a weirdly cool power.
I can't remember his name.
Can he fly?
Yes.
Is he gonna fly?
Does he have to turn them into wings?
He kind of glides, I think. I don't think he actually flies.
Also, what does his face look like? Because they still
So
haven't shown his face.
yeah, because he hides it. Because I think I don't know if the mouth moves.
It's just a penis under there.
His his name. So his quirk. His name is Multi Arms,
Multi-arms, yeah.
and his quirk ability is that his arms can.
Wait,
have-
he didn't go for the armory?